Welcome back to the Shelby Say What podcast. We have been on hiatus for a little bit, but we're so excited to be back. I think we officially took off like 2 months or so. Lots of life things happening, which we're going to touch on in this episode. We are officially recording from our new office setup, which is so exciting. I know. It's taken time. Obviously, we've moved into a new home, and we've wanted to get this space like to be our podcast recording studio. We were doing it from the living room before. It just wasn't working, so...
Having to move the equipment in and out all the time. Like, we just need a space where we can be like, hey, you want to hop on and chat for a little bit? And I think this is a good spot.
Yeah, I like this. I feel like it's good for... We're recording right now. This is our first attempt at recording this to put it on YouTube. That's our hope, is to get video content for you guys. So we're recording in here. I think it's going to go well. We have new chairs.
Yeah.
We got them
They're
from...
comfy.
Yeah, they are super comfy. We had to find... The space is relatively small. I don't know how it's going to look on camera, but it's a smaller office space. So we had to find chairs that would fit in here, and we went to CB2.
Yeah.
I think that's like... in addition to Crate and Barrel or something like that. Yeah, and they are like the perfect size. We were actually looking at chairs bigger than this, and they definitely would not have fit in the space.
No, I think we learned real quick there is limited space, but we're going to make the best of it. And
yeah, they're super trendy. We normally don't do chairs like this in our home. No. I'm usually a bit more like traditional, and this is very like modern. It's boucle like fabric, so... I feel like an official podcaster.
I love it.
In my boucle chairs.
Our cats love it too.
Yeah, they do. They love these sorts of chairs. So it worked out for them too. But thanks for coming back. We appreciate you guys. We're so excited to be back podcasting. This is like my favorite thing to do. So I think we're going to jump right into personal life, catch you guys up on what we've been up to the last 2 months, what we have coming up. And then we'll jump back into pop culture like we always do. It's going to be a fun podcast. I feel like we have a lot to cover. I think most importantly over the last 2 months is we are actually closing next week on our old home. We decided to sell our home. I'll let Jarrett kind of touch on that because this has been a big project for you.
Yeah, I mean, obviously people who've moved, like, they know moving is not fun. And we luckily were able to kind of delay the process a little bit, move into the new home, wait to list in the spring. And
yeah, we got a lot of questions on that. So originally when we bought the new house, if you guys follow me over on Instagram, we had announced like, yes, we bought the home, but we're going to rent our old home. And we quickly decided that we weren't going to do that. Do you want to shed some light on why we decided not to?
I think the basic one is like, we really don't want to be landlords. Like, we don't want to get the calls that we're going to have to fix stuff. This was the house. We've had that house for 10 years and we put our heart and soul into that home, redoing almost everything to that home. You know, we got engaged in that home. After our wedding day, we were in that home. We brought babies in that home. They took their first steps. There's so much sentimental, like, memories to that home. It's really hard to, you know, rent it out and then maybe come back 8 years, 10 years later, and it may not.
I think our fear is, like, we don't know how the renters are going to treat the house. And we put so much love into that home. It's hard not to buy a house and have it be an emotional process. People are like, oh, you know, it's so financial driven. It's like, sometimes it's just not. This is where you've curated your entire life. And for us, thinking that we could rent it out to people who may damage the home or just may not take as good of care of it, it could kind of upset us. Also, too, like, I think in full transparency, Washington State, it is not set up to be a state where you're a landlord and you have a lot of rights. We've had a lot of friends who've had really horrible experiences with squatting. And honestly, we had some property managers come in and be like, yeah, this home could, you know, home up to a really big amount of people. And we were like,
it's only a 3-bedroom home.
Yeah, we were like, what? Like, it's only 1,500 square feet. Like, how could that be possible? So we definitely just decided, yeah, it was...
The sentimental memories, all of that, I think it just weighed on us. And we're like, we just want to list it, get it off our hands, and move forward and not have this, you know, literally right down the street from us, because it was right down the street.
Yeah, super close to home. I think we just need to close that chapter. Like,
yeah.
People can say what they want, financial decision or not. There's something to be said, like, about just closing the chapter and moving on. And for our family, we are very emotionally driven, and I think that was a really big decision for us. I think we're really happy with it. Now we just, like, need it to close.
Now it's like, okay, we need it to close and move forward. That way we can just fully look into, like, the projects in this home and just, like,
I think too,
this
was a starter home for us, and people don't talk about... Jarrett's been doing so much work behind the scenes, you guys. Like, it has been a full-time job just to get him to the point where we could list this home. Like, all the little projects you had to do, inspections, and then after the inspections, what you had to fix up. Like I said, was our starter home, so it wasn't perfect. There were definitely things we had to fix just to get it listed. So that's been, like, a full-time job for you, and now we're going to be able to say, like, oh, we can finally breathe. You're done with that big task.
And luckily when we we listed it, we got an offer within the first 24 hours.
Yeah,
and
that was crazy.
It was a great offer. It relieved the stress of having to, do the open houses, balance everything that comes in. And
Yeah, I feel really lucky. This market is obviously super crazy, but we definitely feel like we had a really good advantage going into the spring. It was spring break weekend, and we were not expecting an offer that fast, you guys. We were out at date night. We were actually at Top Golf, and our real estate agent called us, and I was like, there's no way there's already an offer on the house. Sure enough, it was an offer. It was over asking, and like that's more than we could ever ask for, so it didn't even go on the market for an open house. We just took the deal. So,
and talk about the timing. The if you haven't seen the last Bluey episode,
oh my god, you guys, I have an unpopular opinion on this Bluey episode, but go ahead.
If you're selling a home or moving, I know we're a couple weeks past the premiere of it, but you definitely need to watch it, because like the timing for our family, and when we're driving around and the girls will say, oh, there's the old home, can we stop in? And they still, it's still not closed yet. And this episode like touches on everything in emotion when you're selling a home. However, I think we both looked at it and realized there was a lot of potential for this episode.
Yeah, let me clue people in case they don't have kids or they don't know what we're talking about. So Bluey is a very popular children's show. It's kind of like the It Girl show right now, to be honest. And what we love about Bluey is they really they have it down on like what parenthood actually looks like as a millennial parent, not gentle parenting, but definitely parenting from a very more like inclusive home, equal parents are participating. It's just a really, really good show.
Yeah.
We feel like every episode hits it on the head, right? But I have to say, so this was their season finale episode. It was a long episode. Most Bluey episodes are 8 minutes.
Yeah, this was like 30?
Yeah, it was a 30-minute episode, and this was about Bluey and their family's experience on moving. Well, I'll sum it up for you. I'll give you the cliff notes. They decide they're going to sell their family home, and then they decide, no, we have too many family memories here. Our life is good. We're not going to move. And don't get me wrong, I think the principle of that is so cute. It's very fairy tale, very happy ending. However, if you are a family in the middle of moving and your children see this episode, they're going to look at you and be like, Mommy and Daddy, why did we have to leave our old home? Nothing was wrong. We were so happy. And we're like, as parents, that is not practical. That is literally, we can't break a binding contract that we have to when we're under contract to buy a new home. It was, I don't know.
It's hard because
it was hard.
We had to have a conversation with the girls like, hey, that was their experience. And ultimately, like what I've read up on is like they made the best decision for their family. And that's how we had to approach it with the girls too. Like we made the best decision for our family.
This new home that we're buying is the best decision for our family. But for Bluey's, it was to stay back. Was it practical? No.
Best show ever. But it threw us for a curveball. We're like, oh, we have to have this conversation.
I was like so ready. I was like, wow, they're really going to tackle this really big, hard thing that I would argue almost like 80% of kids in their life will have to deal with, moving. Every kid will have to deal with the experience of maybe moving homes, moving from an apartment, like whatever it is, you will have to move. And they just decided to be like, nah, we're good. We're going to stay. And I don't know. It wasn't my favorite episode, but I definitely think it did open up the conversation to talk to our kids about why we moved, why it was important for our family, and maybe why it wasn't as important for Bluey's family.
Yeah. That show just hits the nail on the head. I've been going to The Dump lately, and they have an episode called The Dump, and it is spot on. You're going, and the girls are like, wait, why are you getting rid of that?
I literally referenced it to Jarrett because Jarrett's like, I'm not going to take the girls to the dump. I was like, well, in Bluey, the dad puts the kids in the car, and they all go out to the dump, and they make a moment of it. So, there's no reason why you couldn't.
We had fun.
Yeah, no. It's definitely been a whirlwind. I think that's another thing too is moving definitely makes you feel like you're a hoarder. Even when you're not, we're clearing out so much stuff. Jarrett has done, how many dump runs have you done?
I've probably done at least 4 donation runs and probably 6 dump runs.
It's just insane. And we didn't even have that much stuff, I promise.
We didn't have that much space. The fact that we fit stuff in there, it was a little ridiculous, but I think it's you save tax documents that we had since 2015. We save certain things like paperwork and memorabilia because you think you're going to go back and look at it. And the reality is
everything's online, guys. You don't need the paper copy. That's what we figured out. There's a portal for something. You can log into something. We're even decluttering this office to get the podcast space set up, we had to go through our office supply closet. It was ridiculous. We had veterinary bills from 2017 for cats that had passed away. I'm we clearly don't need this.
I think
anymore.
The other thing that's hard is we were in a stage of having babies, and a lot of people offer hand-me-downs, and you have that, and it's only good for a certain amount of years, then you're holding on to it either
or
for
the
sentiment.
sentimental attachment. Yeah, you
Yeah.
think like, oh, well, like, are they going to want me to save this to show them when they're older? I'm like, they don't need the first pamphlet of when I went into the OBGYN. Like, they probably don't need that. We can toss it. But you hold on to it because you just don't know.
Love it. And then the same thing, it's like hard with the baby stuff too, because a lot of that stuff you can't donate. It either has an expiration date or they're just like, for safety reasons, they won't take it. So you try to find people that can take it.
Yeah, he's talking about like high chairs.
High chairs, they won't take it, or car seats. And there's a lot of work to get that all done. And I will be happy when this house closes and it'll be officially
I think that's the hardest part about moving is obviously, like, especially in our family circumstances, we feel like this was an upgrade for our life. We are so grateful, but I will say, like, moving is one of the hardest things we've ever done.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think, like, some people feel guilty or shame about talking about it because, like, you should be grateful you're moving, like, what a good opportunity for your family, etc. But so then they don't talk about, like, how hard and difficult moving is and the stress it puts on your family because, like, it's definitely been a very stressful 2 months.
And you're just talking about, like, the kids in our family. We're not talking about, like, the paperwork that comes along with it.
Oh my God,
and all the details and things that could hold up a deal as well, which we've really faced everything you could think of with that.
Yeah, every curveball that could be thrown at you during a buying process, which I know everyone will say, like, has happened to us.
We got to experience it firsthand.
Yeah, and I've realized that, like, this is why I left real estate. Because it was so hard and there's so many curveballs. So
talking about curveballs, like, obviously there's a lot going on doing all that, but you have gotten back into therapy.
Yeah.
Which you've been wanting to get back into it for a while, literally for 3 years. And I'm really happy for you and proud of you for taking it. I know how beneficial it is, and I'm just really happy you took the steps to, like, move forward with it.
Yeah, we definitely have had a lot of curveballs thrown at us in, like, the last few months. And obviously, like, I'll just address the elephant in the room. Like, I took a little bit of a hiatus on social media, not much. Probably not what you guys would even notice, but for myself, it felt that way just because I was posting at a cadence that just wasn't sustainable. And I just got to a place where, like, you know, when life is really hard, I think I was trying to bury everything that I was processing in my work. I was pouring everything into my job, which is social, and I wasn't taking care of myself. So we're now getting to a place where I'm in therapy. I'm working through a lot. I'll always describe my life online as like an iceberg, and you guys just see the tip of the iceberg, and there's so much underneath it that I'm personally unpacking. And I could probably talk about this for hours. We could do another episode on mental health and, like, where I'm coming from. But, yeah, I'm back in therapy. At the end of the day, I just, like, want to be the best version of myself. Mom, wife, content creator. And I knew this was a necessary step. It sucks that it had to get to a place of burnout and crying on the internet. But here we are, like, whatever leads you to it. You know what I mean? There's no shame in going back. I probably should have never left therapy, to be honest, but I'm glad I'm back in it.
But we all have those moments. I think you have those moments that you need. A wake-up call. Mm-hmm. And, you love your job.
I love
We can look at the history of jobs that you've worked,
Yeah.
and you love your job. And I think it was easy to be like, but I love this, and I'm, going on with this.
Yeah.
And I think it was needing to find the right balance, too. And I think we're at that point where you found balance. You have me supporting now because you had been taking this on all by yourself in a whole new world of figuring out everything it might be. I'm just really happy for you.
Thanks, babe. Yeah, I think even, like, touching on the finding balance, I've kind of dove back into, like, my fitness routine, which has been really nice. I didn't put my health on the back burner, but I always describe, like, my journey, especially, like, recovering from, like, disordered eating and body dysmorphia as, like, a pendulum swinging a little bit. And, it takes the pendulum swinging so far one way to figure out that you need help. And then you allow the pendulum to swing the other way where, you're giving in to all your indulgences and cravings and you're not really putting health as the first priority. And I feel like my pendulum is finally swinging back to the middle. And I just want people to know that's okay. And I'm just excited because I feel like health and fitness is something I'm super passionate about. I always have been. And I'm entering, like, a new era almost where I want to take you guys with me on my wellness journey, whether that's therapy, whether that's me working out every day, meditating, getting back into my morning routine. Before kids, I used to get up at 5 a.m. and meditate and read and journal. What?
We had a dedicated room, your, like, yoga room in the old house where you used to take care of all that stuff. And I think one thing to also mention is that the burnout you were working so hard. You were getting sick like every 6 weeks.
Yeah,
And it was like, why is she getting sick? Why,
I would argue more. I was going to see a naturopath. Like, we were really trying to figure this out. And I remember sitting there, and it got to a point where she went, Shelby, we've tested everything. We've ran everything. Like, everything looks good. The only thing I can say as your doctor is you're overworking yourself.
Yeah. It was called out.
And this was called out back in July. I just wasn't ready to admit it.
Yeah.
To myself because I had other things that were hard and I am working on now. My work was my one place where I was like, no, but this is my happy place. Like, this is where I feel fulfilled. And I think that's what happens with a lot of women and men that experience burnout is when you try and tell them that the one thing that's fulfilling them and bringing them joy and they're seeing accolades and, praise for, and then you tell them that's what's making them ill. It's not a fun conversation to have. It's definitely like a reality check moment for sure. But with that being said, I'm grateful I hit that point because now I'm getting back into my fitness routine. I'm sharing a lot more of that. I did my first group fitness class, which for me, like, you've known me for what, 8 years? I've never done group fitness.
You're not even a public gym. Like,
no.
You get gym memberships and you're like, I would just rather work at home.
I get so annoyed by people so easily. I'm just like, why are they in my space? Like, there's 100 ellipticals. Like, why did you choose the one right next to me? Like, I would rather have my podcast on doing my thing. I just get really overstimulated and overwhelmed really easily. But I think a lot of the group fitness, not wanting to participate in that, was rooted back in, like, my insecurities. Like, very much, like, comparing my body to others. And I'm like, I just have to, like, preach what I talk about online. And so ripping off that Band-Aid, trying a bar class was so liberating. I definitely think it got me excited and eager to, like, be back on my health journey again, however that's going to look. And, like, yeah, I can say, like, the biggest benefit to all of this reset is, like, I am getting better. Like, I'm not sick all the time. Obviously we just got over a cold.
This
like,
was because
literally,
of kids, though. This
was, you guys, this was our kids. Like, and this cold, too, I can say in my defense, like, I bounced back faster than I ever have before. If you would have asked me this a year ago, like, a cold like this would have taken me out for weeks.
It's because you're taking rest.
I know.
Like, you're actually committing to be like, okay, I'm going to take time, rest, sleep, everything else will get handled.
Basically, like, the 3 things that were recommended to me to start, like, filling my cup were, like, find a fitness routine that you love. Like, some people read, some people journal. I'm more of a scriber. Like, I like to write, so I journal a ton. And then the other thing was, like, watch reality TV or just, like, indulge in TV. Yeah. And, like, I finally got back into, like, reality TV again. I'm hooked on Summer House.
Oh, that's the best show.
That is the best show on television, you guys. I tried to do Vanderpump Rules, and, like, don't come after me. I know a lot of people love Vanderpump Rules, but I'm just saying, like, it's so LA. I don't relate to a lot of it.
It's a very different scene.
It totally is. And, like, we've always been people, like, we just like a little bit more of the, like, party ratchet. Like, we liked Florida Bama Shore. Even, like, Jersey Shore. Like, we liked stuff like that. So I got into Summer House. I think we'll do a full episode recapping Summer House because I know a lot of people here do like Summer House. And it should be coming close to the season finale.
So. Yeah. We're big on Bravo. And...
Which is crazy. We're big on Bravo as of the last couple weeks.
Yes. Well, no, we've always been Southern Charm fans.
We just didn't understand the Bravo universe, though. Like, we didn't understand how incestuous it was and, like, how everyone hooks up with everyone from different shows. And I love that for me. And, like, I just love how it, like, cross-promotes, like... And now they're getting people involved from other reality networks. Like, I heard that there's a girl from The Bachelor who's now going to be on Southern Charm this season.
Wow.
Yeah, I just love that. It's so fun.
And I just, like, I love reality TV. Like, like, sitcoms don't hold my attention span that long, but reality TV, like, you can kind of do some chores while it's going on, in and out, and still understand the plot and storyline, because they also replay the same situation, like, 3 times.
Oh, my God, you guys. Obviously, like, we're kind of newbies to Bravo, but it is so annoying how they share the same clip 18,000 times in an episode and then try and call it an episode. I'm like, I only got like 15 minutes of new airtime television because they're showing you the same clip that they want you to watch the entire season to get to. It's just that's really hard.
No, I know. And we have ads in ours. We're trying to get past
why do we have ads?
Hulu Live, like, for some reason they say it's not part of their ad-free bank. So we have to literally sit through 2 minutes of ads.
Wait, so if you're a Bravo person, like, how are you watching? Cable to get past commercials?
I think we could do Xfinity and just like...
No, there's got to be another streaming platform that allows you to bypass. Or is it like a
we got to figure it out because it's keeping us up
I know,
way
you
too
guys,
late at night.
I know. That's the thing is, like, I'm sitting through 3 minutes of ads. Oh my gosh, it's such a millennial thing to complain about.
We need more reality shows, like, pushed our way because, like, we'll watch them.
Yeah, we're definitely into it. That was a weird tangent, but circling back, I just want to say thank you for anyone that's checked in on me and our family. I promise you, I assure you, everything is good here with me and my family, like, better than ever. I just have my own battles I'm facing, but I have a great support system. And even, like, you guys as, you know, I always call you guys my girls. And then, like, sometimes people get confused. They're like, are you talking about your daughters? Like, I'm like, no, I'm talking about, like, my girlies, like, my community, my Shelby Say What. Like, you guys have been so supportive of me. And, like, you guys check in on me. Like, if I don't post a story, you're like, hey, just making sure everything's okay. Like, the car incident, like, this all stemmed from the car accident. I think I was already dealing with a lot, and then once I got in that car accident, everything came to the surface, and car accidents are really scary already, and I just wasn't prepared for it to bring up a heaping amount of trauma. That was a fun side effect, so thank you guys for checking in. I really appreciate it, and I honestly want to talk about it a lot more candidly. I like talking about mental health because at the end of the day, if I'm going to do this job and I'm going to, you know, expose myself, like, I want to make sure it's always for the better good. And if that's talking about my mental health, then I'm happy to do it. I'm happy to be that person. So with that being said, I think we should jump into happier things.
Yeah, let's do some of
things.
the fun stuff. Some of the pop culture that we have.
Yeah.
There's been a lot going on, obviously. Really to look back on, I'm trying to keep up with it all.
I would say we're just going to cover, like, the last couple weeks. We're not going to cover, you know, the 2 months that we haven't been podcasting, but
we can cover a lot.
I know, we could cover a lot.
Obviously, Taylor Swift released her new album, and
do you know what it's called?
The Tortured Poets Department.
Good job.
Now, isn't there, like, a 2-album?
Yeah, it was like a 2-part release. Like, she uploaded half of it at midnight, and then at 2 a.m. she surprised everyone with more. The fan theory is she did that because, like, with other albums, she's just going to release the vault tracks anyway, so you might as well just give us all 31. Yeah. But people say that, but at the same time, I was thinking about it, and Morgan Wallen had a big album. Like, I feel like that's just the new norm.
Which, I like smaller albums. I like a 12, give me 12 songs, get through it, and then save it for later, because there comes a certain point where I'm like, 31 songs, having to, like, recall them all, like, it just blends all together at a certain point.
Yeah, you feel like... I know you're, like, scared to say anything because you don't want the Swifties coming after you. He's a big Swiftie, you guys. We're just, like, it's really hard to talk about Taylor Swift without people being, like, coming for you. Like, it's really hard to be critical without being biased also as a Swiftie. Like, I feel like that's my hardest thing is, like, anything she puts out, I'm probably going to rave about. But at the same time, I do want to look at it through, like, a critical lens. Did you think the entire album all sounds the same?
It's hard to depict. Like, at a certain point, it all just kind of...
Have you even made it through all 31 songs?
I don't think I've made it. I've made it a good portion, but that's what I'm saying. I tune out because it's like, at a certain point, it just kind of blends, and I'm like, okay, I need to change it up.
Yeah,
like,
I'd say...
My attention span for 31 songs is not going to last.
Do you even know your favorite song?
Yeah, what was it? Now I'm going to...
It's track 2.
Not So High School. I think it's the Tortured Poets Department.
Yeah.
That song.
I think that's actually both our favorite songs.
It's got a very 80s vibe to it in the intro, and, like,
totally.
You'll get me.
That's Jack Antonoff, though, because he's always, like, doing this synth. Yeah. I have a lot of opinions on it, obviously. But I think for me, it's not my favorite Taylor Swift album, but ironically, it has the best bridges that she's ever wrote. Like, The Smallest Man That Ever Lived, I'm like, I don't know. She just had, and even lyrically, like, she has some really great lyrics in it. It feels like a hybrid of Midnights and Folklore to me, which I really like. I will say, like, unpopular opinion, I think my favorite album is Midnights, just because I felt like it was lyrically really beautiful, really thoughtful, but still had a little bit more of a pop up.
Yeah. A little more upbeat.
A little bit more upbeat. A lot of people are saying she's doing this so she can just, like, get it out, let it all out there so she can move on and, like, probably write a happy album about, like, Travis and, like, just being in love. But I'll say as a Swiftie, and you guys tell me otherwise, but, like, what I want for Taylor Swift, especially as somebody who's experienced burnout, is, like, I want her to just take the next 2 years and just be a person. just chill. Just enjoy your life, enjoy your popularity, go to the football games, go to the concerts. I don't expect you to be this machine putting out music all the time. And I know that's hard because it's how you stay relevant. That's how you become the pulse. That's how you're the it girl. But like, I think we could really potentially get like one of the best albums we're ever going to get if she would just take some time off. Not saying this wasn't, because I think a lot of people are arguing this is the best album she's ever put out there.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. And I was actually really surprised, but I think the more that people have had time to sit with it, it's hard for it not to be, because if you put out 31 songs, guaranteed you're at least going to have 3 favorites, right? And I think because Billboard-wise, I think she had 10 songs in the top 10.
Yeah.
She dominated. Like, she's just done so many historical big things, and that's my question for you, is do you think that Taylor Swift is a once-in-our-lifetime sort of person, or do you think that we'll see another Taylor Swift in our lifetime? Like, what she has achieved, do you think someone else could recreate it and have that same level of fame, or are we only going to see this once in a lifetime?
It's not going to be once in a lifetime, but it's going to take a lot, and even to get to the level that she's at.
Because I think at some point people have always like compared her to like a Madonna or something, but I'm like, I'm sorry.
Bigger.
She's done more than Madonna. Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if... I think
she's
Michael
also
Jackson
changed.
And Taylor Swift are like, if you gave me 2 people, it'd be Michael Jackson and Taylor Swift. Like, those would be the people, the icons that I would put up there. And if you think about it, like, there's nobody right now that's 15 to 20 years old that is even close to where Taylor was.
Yeah.
And so if we just give that timeline, like, it's going to be a while before they have that. And it's...
Yeah, because, I mean, she had an Eras tour of, like, what? She already has, like, 10 albums, or...
It's unreal. Like, I don't see...
But even the fandom, even what she's created, like, I think she's changed even the concert industry, because now you're going to start seeing other artists doing Eras tours. They never thought this could be possible. Could we hold people's attention span for 3 hours at a concert? And she proved not only could she do it, but she'd sell the most...
Back to back nights. Like, that's a good question, though. Because, like, I think everybody loves to play, like, the Eras game. Like, will there be this?
Or who could they compare to the next Taylor Swift? And I'm like, I don't really know if you can.
Because I know you could go back and people would say Elvis or the Beatles or all of that. True, and there's certain groups that are like that. But, like, let's be honest, too. What she's done as a female, like, is so above and beyond what anyone has done. And as an artist in general, like... I don't see it happening for a long time.
I don't see it. That's what I'm saying. I think it might be at a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, which is kind of crazy to think that, like, simultaneously, like, at least I'm growing up with her, like, relatively same age, gone through her music since the beginning. So it's just crazy to be a fan, to experience this sort of success and what she's built.
No wonder everybody's along for the ride, and just, like, there's so much good stuff out there. Now that she has met the man, like... it just adds to all of the story of her.
I was going to pull up and see what are my favorite songs from the album. I mean, it obviously took us a while to get through the album, you guys, because, like, we have kids. So, like, it's not like we can just, like, sit down and listen to this. And also, too, I always say this about Taylor Swift when she first puts out an album. I listen to it, I go, I don't really know if I like that. And then Jared's always like, okay, give it a couple times and you're going to be obsessed with it, which, like, literally happens every single time. It just always is not what I'm expecting. And I know a lot of people, were you surprised to find out that it was mostly written about Maddie Healy? Do you understand?
Yeah, I understand that whole situation. I just was like, it was really interesting that the album primarily focused on him. I just think she has had so much life that she's lived. Yeah. It was interesting to hear that so many songs were about that guy.
I was shocked. There's so many, like, you know how Apple will, like, star the ones that are, like, top hits? There's so many already starred on here, but... I definitely like Guilty as Sin. Oh, my favorite is So Long London. Oh, that's track 5. Go figure. Do you know what that means?
No.
Taylor Swift.
There's an Easter egg behind it?
Yeah, kind of. Like, she usually makes her best one, or the one that means the most to her track 5. And that is my favorite one. I think it has one of the best bridges. Like, again, I think lyrically it's one of the best ones she's put out. There's also been some, like, weird lyrics, too. Like that Charlie Puth line.
Yeah.
Like, people were saying, like, she gave so much. Like, it was a diary entry. Like,
I heard that
to the point of, like, we know actual conversations that happened, which I think is part of the fandom. But here is another hot take that I have. Do you think that she would see the success she has if TikTok weren't around?
Yes. I do. I think she survives without TikTok, and that's
but
why
I think, okay, this is where, like, maybe I'm crazy, but I don't, the virality of it.
I think no matter what platform it is on, she would be boosted up. Like, TikTok only helps enhance it, but I think she's just
I think people are really
big.
downplaying how much TikTok helps.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because
every
I'm sorry,
sound
like,
is-
every sound is generated through TikTok. Like, every song that makes it on the top 100 is because it is trending on TikTok. Like, Instagram Reels is just TikTok, but 3 weeks later. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know. I think TikTok really transformed
Elevated
her
her career.
career. Yes, and people can say what they want, like, oh, she's Taylor Swift, but I'm like, the way people can go into fan edits, they can obsess over things, they can overanalyze things, the Easter egg element, like, it just gives people way more access to, like, I don't know.
The Eras tour
grow
was a
her
perfect
fame.
example. Like,
Yes,
it got people
exactly.
firsthand experience to see the tour and see her. And even for me, like,
I don't know if
always,
the reach would have been the same on Instagram.
I've always appreciated Taylor Swift as an artist, but never has, I'm not a hardcore Swiftie, obviously.
Yeah.
But when you see her concerts, you're like, oh, that girl could put on a show.
Yeah, totally. Speaking of which, it's like, obviously, this is like Taylor's version of a diss track.
Yeah.
But this week, Kendrick came out with like an entire. Is it a diss album or is it a diss track? Because he put out multiple
It sounds
songs.
like he's put out multiple. Like, they're kind of going back and forth.
So
and, like,
wait, I should back up. So Kendrick Lamar came out with a diss track on Drake. I guess they have
It's
beef.
been back and forth. I mean, it's been since 2011. We're not going to go all the way back there, but it kind of starts in 2011, 2013. There was some little things, and Kendrick was basically like calling out all the competition. Nothing like that hard.
Not just Drake.
Not just Drake, like a lot of people. Like, hey, I'm going to be better than you. Like, you guys are nothing.
Got it.
That's in short term of what was said.
Okay.
But, I mean, this goes back further. And it's just crazy that it's all playing out now to what it is. Because Kendrick just, like, lit the world on fire. Like, he literally
everyone's
everything out on
saying
Drake.
he like want to like he basically wrote like Taylor Swift did. Like,
Yeah.
he basically like
Kind of went after the family side.
went after the family. He laid it all out there. Like, it wasn't like vague. It was like pinpoint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where Drake was like, you're a short guy. And Kendrick's like, yeah, I'm going to just go after your family, your kids, everything.
Your character.
Allegations.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know how the beef started though. Do you?
It kind of what I was saying is like Kendrick had called him out and
In a rap song
in a song,
previously?
but he called out everybody, and then Drake kind of brushed it to the side. But then Kendrick had some other songs that came out that were kind of pointing at actions that Drake took. And then recently, it just got to a point where I think J. Cole kind of put out an album. And then quickly retracted and apologized for his disses because he's like the mutual guy. He's like the ally of both.
Yeah.
And he pulled back. And obviously Drake said some sort
I think people feel threatened because Drake is like the Jay-Z of our time, I would say, and he dominates the industry. I think people are scared to make waves with him because, you know, if you piss off Drake, you're pissing off a lot of important people. I don't think Kendrick cares. I think he's like,
he has enough respect.
He's probably a free label. Like, does he even have anyone?
I don't know.
I mean, he probably does.
But he has enough respect where he can do that. And it's crazy that it's gotten to the point it has. But somebody brought this up, and it's like, hey, they're businessmen. Like, we can look at all this like maybe the beef is real or maybe it's fabricated because we're talking about it.
Yeah.
It's everywhere. Rolling Stone had a whole breakdown of everything. Like, everybody's talking about it. It's real, I believe, with what he said, but you do have to look at it and say, hey, as a business move, it's benefiting both of them.
Yeah, everyone's just like, Kendrick's hella funny because he just dropped it on a random Tuesday out of nowhere. But, like, I don't know. I definitely think they know what they're doing. Like, I don't think the beef is fake by any means. The rap community reminds me a lot of, like, what's the wrestling community? The fighting
WWF
community?
or WWE
Yeah, like,
now.
everyone always has it out for someone, but that's part of their shtick. Exactly, because they know it sells. Like, it's like that toxic masculinity. Like, they live for it.
What's funny is you said it got, dropped on a random Tuesday. I'd have to go back and look at all the timeline and stuff, but someone was basically saying Kendrick didn't want to release on Taylor's debut day. So he waited a couple days to push it out.
Well, even Drake has said the same before.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, if I'm going to push back an album, the only person it's going to be for is Taylor Swift. Yeah. So, but there's also, I didn't get into it enough, like, on TikTok, but people are saying Kendrick worked with Jack Antonoff, which was like a direct diss because he basically has an in with Taylor Swift and Drake doesn't. I think that's like the beef of it. Yeah, I don't, like I said, like, it's just been kind of silly.
A lot of the music world just like
I know.
attacking. Shelby's ready for some like pop
Yeah,
fun
like
music.
can
We've
we
been
just
talking about it.
get a happy album? That would be great. I'd appreciate that. But are you a Drake or are you a Kendrick guy?
I'll go Kendrick. I'm not really okay. So wild thing. I think I've seen Drake 4 times. Not even planned. When I worked in radio, we'd get free concerts. And I was like, it's Drake. Like, yeah, I'll go see him. Or he'd pop up at different shows.
Yeah.
So I've seen him a lot, and I'm by no means like a huge Drake guy, but I have seen him. I would say in this, I'm going on Kendrick's side.
Yeah. I think as a rapper, I prefer Kendrick.
Yeah.
I just think like his music hits a little harder, but I mean that's gonna like obviously infuriate a lot of people. There's just like Drake just like has a really loyal totally. Fan base. I think like I get the appeal of Drake, but like to me all of his songs sound the same.
Yeah.
Which is gonna make a lot of people upset. But
I know.
I don't know, I like Kendrick. He's fiery. I've always thought like I don't know, I like his lyrics.
Yeah.
No, but it's like it's funny. I feel like everyone's at odds with each other right now. But
I know. We just want some peace. We just want some fun.
That would be nice.
I mean, we can swing it back to the guy who brings fun.
Who's that?
Jason Kelce.
Oh yeah, he does.
Because what did you say? He just got signed on by ESPN.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you. So I know like big football news was happening like kind of last weekend. Like Travis Kelce he signed back with Kansas City.
Yeah. No brainer. That makes sense.
Yeah. But is he making the most? What is his position again? A tight end?
He's a tight end.
So is he making the most in?
I'm sure he's the highest paid.
That's what they were saying
in the NFL.
Can I look it up?
Yeah, and it makes sense. Like the guy is Hall of Famer up next to like Gronkowski. And
do you think Taylor Swift had some effect on him being paid the most? Like the Taylor Swift.
I think like he definitely like would have gotten that regardless. But when you start seeing the other brands, like he was just at the Kentucky Derby, and like there was so much coverage on him being there. That is the Taylor Swift effect. Like,
what am I googling? Travis Kelce's
contract extension.
Thank you.
But what's cool, like we're talking about Jason, the brother, and you had asked like, hey, does this make sense as far as with Jason Kelce? Like he has the big podcast, and Jason Kelce like. For us being in the Seattle area with the Seattle Seahawks, Jason Kelce's kind of like a Marshawn Lynch. Like, he's such a fan favorite.
Yeah, that's so
He's
true.
expanded his personality and brand where, like, I think every home in America sees Jason Kelce and they're like, oh, that guy is the man. And
yeah, what I didn't understand is, like, you were explaining to me that Jason Kelce has been, like, hot for a while.
Yeah.
I'm a Swiftie, so, like, I was only brought into this, like, recently, right? But, like, you were basically saying, like, he's been...
If you know football, like if you followed football, like Jason Kelce has been a big deal. I would say ever since they won the Super Bowl, it's like he stayed with the Philadelphia Eagles like his whole career.
Yeah.
As a center or lineman don't get a lot of attention. Like he was able to like market himself and get some of that attention within the city of Philadelphia. And he had a Super Bowl speech that was just awesome. And it's kind of like people started falling in love with him there. And
what was his Super Bowl speech about?
He just like was dressed up in like a jester outfit and drinking beers and just like firing up the city.
The guy next door.
And then he just so happened to have the brother Travis Kelce, who's like the stud tight end, and ultimately playing each other in the Super Bowl. I think that storyline is just built into a monster. Like he's been able to take advantage of because he is such a likable person. I compare it to the Marshawn Lynch effect. Like Marshawn Lynch is so likable from people.
Yeah.
Jason Kelce has done that same thing, and it makes sense. I think people want to see more of him as well.
Yeah.
And
it's a natural fit. I mean, he has New Heights, the podcast.
Yeah.
So I feel like he's already like has his resume built there.
Yeah.
I mean, ESPN was probably just dying to have him. I wonder what he signed for with ESPN. So I looked up Travis. So the Chiefs signed Travis Kelce to a 2-year, $34.25 million contract on Monday, wrapping up their star tight end as they attempt to win their 3rd straight Super Bowl.
Yeah, they had to do that.
So is that pretty crazy for only a 2-year contract? Is it weird it's only 2 years?
No, because he's coming to the end of his career. They probably were just like...
How old is he?
I think he's 35.
Okay.
34, 35.
Yeah.
So he's coming to the end of his career where, like, he probably has to do these 2-year to 1-year contracts now. They just have to pay a premium for the shorter contract.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is $34 million a lot? I mean, compared to like a quarterback, don't quarterbacks make so much money?
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Like Patrick Mahomes.
Mahomes, I think his last deal was like $500 million.
Why is it such a discrepancy? That seems so insane.
Because if you don't have a quarterback,
you don't have a team.
Exactly. Exactly.
I mean, that's such a huge difference, though. Pay gap.
The big thing is, it's all about the guaranteed money. So, like, you could have a $34 million contract. but how much is guaranteed?
Here's my question for you, though. Do you think other teams are trying to pick up Travis Kelce, or do you think it was only straight talk with the Chiefs?
I think other teams wouldn't be able to afford him or want to at this stage. I think the Chiefs knew, like, hey, if we give him the right deal, he's ours. He's not going to walk.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what that salary increase is from the last contract he signed, but...
I'd have to look.
Jarrett, you have to admit, there is a Taylor Swift, like, effect to this.
I mean...
For the brand, for what they brought to football, like, I think at some point you have to, like, throw on a couple bucks just for the fact of who you're dating.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he sells the Chiefs. The amount of jerseys that got sold the second he started dating Taylor Swift, like...
Yeah, that's where I'm like...
I'm sure
the contract
a couple
looks
million
a
was
little
like,
nicer.
hey,
that's what I'm saying.
keep your brand good.
Even if the NFL was like, hey, we'll throw you a few if you'll just make sure this can keep happening.
Yeah, we could go on and on talking about the whole
I know.
Taylor, Travis, Jason.
Of it all.
I love it.
I know. Speaking of football, I know you haven't been able to watch the Tom Brady roast, but have you seen TikToks about it yet?
I've seen enough of it, and like there was this one rumor that
Are you interested in watching it?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Tom Brady, like I will watch that in a heartbeat. I just know there was one instance where Jeff, the host of the roast, he called out Robert Kraft, the owner of the New England Patriots, for some allegations, and Tom Brady got up.
Did this have to do with massaging?
Yes.
Okay, wait. Yes, tell me more.
So basically, the owner of the New England Patriots allegedly like would go to massage parlors and ask for the fun stuff, and that all kind of like came out of what it might be, and that was one of the first jokes he told was like.
I heard that one didn't hit very well.
Well, Tom Brady went up as like, don't say that again. And I think the reason, like, it makes sense, though, because, like, Tom Brady is there to be roasted himself.
Yes.
Like, you don't need to bring other people in it. Roast me all you want.
Well, that's not true, because you bring in the family, friends, people are bringing in the divorce. You can bring in a lot of things, but you don't want to touch the money, is basically what they're saying. Like, that's the big money you don't touch. But
no, that's on my to-watch list. I was able to see a couple clips from TikTok, but, like...
It sounds like he took it in pretty good, like, spirit. Yeah. Like, he was pretty good about it. I was shocked at how big the venue was. I've seen the Netflix, like, roast specials before. I'm sorry, did they sell out a football stadium?
I don't think they've done one in a while, and I think the Tom Brady effect is huge to get that many people to show up, but I can't recall the last roast that they've done, so I think it was a pretty big deal to...
I think it was pretty successful, too. It's always interesting when Netflix does these live ones. They're very, very successful. People like live television.
They do.
They like tuning in live. So it was interesting to see them do that element with the roast. I think I'll watch with you. I heard that Kim Kardashian got booed for like 2 straight minutes. So much that Kevin Hart had to like cut it down. He was like, guys, knock it off. So it's interesting because today we're recording, it's May 6th. Today is the Met Gala. And people are speculating that she won't go because of this. Because she's very... affected by people not liking her. Like that, she does not like to be perceived as anything but like it. And people are saying this is stemming a little bit from Taylor Swift's album because that one track was about her, Thank You, Amy. I actually have a hot take on that.
Yeah.
I don't think that track was about her. Which like
really?
Goes against the grain because like every initial that was capitalized spells Kim. I think she did that like intentionally to like that's too obvious of an Easter egg. And like if you're going to be the girl that's saying, I read Aristotle, like, I just don't think your Easter eggs are going to become that obvious. I think she's almost like it's like reverse psychology. I think she's playing with us a little bit. I think that song was meant to be very vague and, like, could be generalized really about anyone. But, like, yeah, ultimately, like, she'll throw it back to Kim. But I don't know. It's too obvious. Does that make sense?
No, it totally does.
As someone that prides herself on being an intellect, I'm like, there's just no way. Like, you wouldn't have to spell out Kim for your loyal, devoted fans to figure it out. It just seems too obvious. But, yeah, no, the special seems good. Randomly about Tom Brady, do you remember, like... 10 years ago when he put out like that Facebook documentary.
I loved it.
Okay, I was obsessed with that. I remember watching that at work.
You don't watch football that often.
No, but I was so intrigued by it and I was really shocked because Facebook had something there. Because like it was like a Facebook exclusive documentary. I want to say it was like a 5-part series or something. I watched the entire thing. I was 21 at the time. I was not interested in football at all, but I just really liked I thought they did a really good job on that documentary, and I'm surprised Facebook didn't try and do more like that afterwards because I thought it had a lot of success.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, like, that is such a... good platform to use to have those special releases because like
Yeah.
they'll show baseball games. Facebook will do specific baseball games on Facebook TV. I feel like they haven't done stuff like that in a while. It feels like kind of post COVID, they kind of went away from the baseball games on Facebook, the documentaries, all of that.
Yeah. I was going to say, with the roast, do you know how they pick, like, the people that are going to roast him? Like, is it usually, like, friendly? Is it usually, like, a mix of comedians and friends? Like, because Kevin Hart was there, and, like, he's obviously a comedian.
Yeah. So typically what happens with the roast is, like, usually the host or the head comedian has some connections of comedians that they'll say, hey, we're going to talk about this person. Would you come join me? So they'll take a group of like 3 to 5 comedians that just will tell jokes. And then they bring about 3 to 5 personal friends of that person.
Okay.
So,
I think Kim Kardashian was considered a personal friend then, because she was brought up, because then she went back in the audience, and that's where I was confused, because I was like, why isn't she sitting on the stage with everyone else? So she was like one of those like friends special. Yeah. Okay. Gronk was there. Did he?
He spoke a little bit.
Did he roast him at all?
People said he didn't really let up either.
Okay.
Julian Edelman was there. I'm sure a lot of his like guy gang that he hangs out with was present as well, but like he's got a pretty good group of personalities to pull from. I guess Bill Belichick was there, his former coach too.
Oh, cool.
And, no, I love the roast. I think there's just like, again, missing that like event style TV.
Live, yeah, I know.
We love event style TV.
We do. Like, I even love American Idol in that sense, like watching live. They don't do roast very often though.
I feel like
how do they come to pick someone who's going to be like worthy of a roast?
I think usually it's a monumental moment in their life. Like for Tom Brady, it was retiring, and a lot of times it's when people have retired from what they have done.
Do you think he regrets double retiring?
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't think he does.
It was such a weird move.
I think because what I've heard is originally when he was going to come back, he really wanted to go to the Miami Dolphins.
Okay.
And basically it wasn't going to work that he would go to the Dolphins. I can't remember if they were tampering or something came up. But I mean, he came back and won a Super Bowl.
Okay. And he was a quarterback, so he made a lot of money. He's like a Patrick Mahomes, so he's just like filthy rich.
But let's be real. Giselle was the one.
Was she making more money?
Oh, yeah. Like Tom Brady was doing good, but Giselle.
No way.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really keep in touch with the modeling world per se. I know she's a big model, but my gosh. Oh, okay.
Yeah. She was like...
Do you think they signed a prenup? Ooh. Yeah, probably. They both had so much assets.
Yeah, and he had come from a divorce that he was previously married to.
Oh, okay.
So I'm sure they both were kind of like...
Is he doing any sort of hosting gig now or no?
No hosting. I know he's doing a lot of appearances. I think he's got his own business ventures that he's just like...
he's like an Alex Rodriguez...
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Just like more into the business ventures.
Yeah.
Is he good at public speaking? Or
Oh, he's great. He's hilarious.
Is that weird that he's not doing it then?
I think you'll see more of it. I just think he's like truly enjoying like
he's doing like Capital One commercials or
like,
something.
being with his kids. If you follow him on like socials, like he's really big into his kids and like supporting them. Like Tom Brady, I feel like is an easy person to hate, especially again from Seattle. Yeah. Being Seattle Seahawks fans, like people don't like him. Like I truly think like his story is amazing. Like how he just developed in the league, his personality, like his competitive nature. Like I think that's what hooked you on that documentary.
Yeah.
Like
I always love a behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I love seeing like how people come up, where they started, because we always just see once they've made it. And then we always like to assume like, well, it just came so easy to them. And that's like usually not the case.
It's really fun to see the grind and like just the aspects of what they do to get to that point. So,
yeah. Do you want to watch the Met Gala tonight? Do you want to see some of it?
Hey, I will
you
always
love like award
snoop
shows
on
and
what
stuff
you
like
have
that.
on.
Yeah.
Like, unfortunately, like I'll watch my own shows, and like I said, I have a short attention span. Like I fade off about like 35 minutes into a show.
Yeah.
But when you have something on, I'm kind of like I linger.
Yeah.
And then I get hooked.
Yeah, it's always a conversation starter. I forgot, what's the theme for the Met Gala? You said it was something like garden.
So they said it was basically like, I think it is celebrating a new exhibit called Sleeping Beauties.
Yeah.
But it's not Disney princess themed. It's more of like wearing iconic pieces of clothing that can't be reworn again.
Right, and they're using, okay, this reminds me of TikTok. So they're using an AI feature to like show... Like, they're not going to display the actual garments. They're going to use an AI tool to visually, like, replicate, like, the clothes that they're going to be on display. They're going to use AI.
That is crazy.
Yes, and their whole point is, like, we're not going to mess with the garment, but we're going to show you how to do this. Some people are saying this is a dig at Kim Kardashian, this theme, because they're saying that she messed with the integrity of the Marilyn Monroe dress.
She did?
And the people in the fashion community were really upset by that. So now they built a whole theme around the integrity of maintaining.
How legit do you think that is? Like, that theme is kind of based around it.
I have a hard time believing that because, like, they need Kim Kardashian to show up to the Met Gala. But at the same time, like, they're kind of on the downfall. So, like, I don't know.
What's crazy is you talk about the AI. Sorry to go in a different direction of that. But, like, they talk about the AI and, like, that is our world to be able to see, like, different areas. Have you seen the Google glasses that people wear?
No. Are you talking about the ones where people play video games?
No, I mean, it's literally Google glasses, so they wear them on their head, and they could be in public. So, like, they'd be at the Met Gala, and, like, how you're talking, like, in AI, they could be like, oh, that design would look good. That design would look great. In construction, like, you can see, like, certain piles of stuff, like sand. They're like, okay, there's 1,000 pounds of sand there. But it's just changing the game so much as far as, like, what you can visually see while you're in present, like, in the reality.
I think this is kind of the first, it's like actually a pretty monumental moment if you think about it, you guys. Like, this is the first time we are getting some sort of, like, media outlet using AI to produce their show. So, and even though it's, like, not the element of, like, oh, the people are AI or whatever, but, like, they are introducing the element of using AI to benefit their event. I think this is a lot more monumental than people are understanding, and it's also, like, AI is here.
Yeah.
Like, stop saying, like, oh, hee hee ha ha, I don't understand it, then understand it, because it's here, and it's happening. And I think, like, later on, we're obviously going to have a lot of developing conversations about AI and, like, the integrity of it and how we can use it to benefit us but not overtake us. Like, I think there's a lot behind it. But, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they play into this AI role and, like, how this will continue with TV, shows, award shows, all of it.
Correct me if I'm wrong. With Met Gala, everybody's like, "Who? I would never wear that. Like, that's ridiculous."
Yeah, that's the whole point of it, yeah.
But it also does start trends. And just as simple as this AI thing, like, it will start a trend for other TV outlets to take a risk to be like, hey, if they did it, like, let's see how we can manipulate and do that.
I think it's, just, like, for the first time, like, acknowledging that, like, oh, well, if, you know, the media space is using it to benefit their business, that, like, there's going to be a lot more just everyday people like ourselves using AI to benefit.
I'm kind of excited to watch then.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I don't really know how to watch. Like, I've always just watched it through, like, TikTok clips, but I guess we can figure it out and see. I'm excited to see who all turns out, but I think we've been going for a while now, so we could probably end it here today.
I'm glad to be back on it.
I know, it's so nice to be back. It kind of felt like, we always say that podcasting feels like another date night for us, because we actually get to talk and chat with each other. So I think the plan is definitely to get back on a cadence of, like, sharing and being here every week or so.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to be doing my Shelby Shorts, which is where I just, like, go into anything in depth that you guys have been messaging me on TikTok or Instagram, and we get a little bit more personal for about, like, 10 minutes or less. Like I said, it's Shelby Short. We keep it really quick and really short. But for now, I think we're going to wrap on today's episode, and we'll be back soon. I think the next time we'll be podcasting, we'll either be getting ready to go to Scottsdale or we'll be coming back from Scottsdale. That's a parents-only trip, so I'm excited for that one.
And sunshine.
That's mainly why we need it, you guys. Seattle is just so sad and depressing. It's been so dark. It's been one of the roughest winters. That definitely didn't help with the mental health. So we're going to go catch some sunshine and be back. But we look forward to seeing from you guys. Let us know if there's anything that you guys want to hear in the next couple episodes, and we'll be happy to include it. But until next time, I'm Shelby.
I'm Jarrett.
And this is Shelby Say What?